Be careful whose wings you try to clip, for one day they might soar high enough to cast shadows over your entire world. That's the thing about being chosen. It's not a title, it's a force, a storm that can't be silenced or stopped. When you've been doubted, disrespected, or cast aside, it doesn't destroy you, it sharpens you. Like steel forged in fire, the pain and rejection don't break you, they make you unbreakable. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Because chosen ones don't just watch from the sidelines. We build, we rise, and we conquer together. Let's awaken your spirit. The truth about being chosen is this: it haunts your enemies like a ghost they can't outrun. Your presence is the reminder of what they underestimated, the living proof of the power they tried to crush. You weren't their priority, you weren't even on their radar. But what they didn't know is that the stone they rejected wasn't just a stone, it was the foundation of something they can't escape. You see, chosen ones have a power most can't comprehend. It's not handed to you, it's grown layer by layer from every moment of pain, rejection, and betrayal. While they laughed, you learned. While they looked down on you, you grew taller. Every dismissal was a spark, and every insult was fuel. And now the fire is roaring, and they're choking on the smoke of their own arrogance. Imagine this: you were the one they scoffed at, the one they turned their back on. You were the one who didn't fit their mold, didn't match their expectations, didn't play by their rules. They saw your quiet struggle as weakness. They saw your patience as irrelevance. But what they failed to understand is that the struggle was your preparation, and your patience was your weapon. The power of the chosen one is silent at first, like a seed growing underground. They don't see the roots digging deep, pulling strength from the earth. But when the tree rises, it towers over everything around it. That's you, rising now, stronger than they ever thought possible. They can't escape the shadow of your growth, and it terrifies them. And here's the kicker: they can't undo what's done. The choices they made, the bridges they burned, the chances they had to stand with you, all gone. Now they see the cost. It's a weight they can't lift, a reality they can't ignore. They see the strength you've built, the victories you've claimed, and they're left wondering how they could have been so blind. But it's too late for them. The world is different now. You're not playing their game anymore. You've created your own path, and it's lined with the lessons they unwillingly taught you. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. The power of being chosen is knowing you were built for something bigger than their small minds and limited visions could ever grasp. So to the chosen ones, keep rising, keep proving them wrong. Let your presence remind them of what they lost when they overlooked you. Let your victories scream the truth louder than their excuses. You don't just survive, you thrive. And you do it with a quiet vengeance that speaks volumes. You're not just a reminder of their mistakes. You're a reckoning. Because, in the end, they'll have to face the fact that the mountain they thought they owned belongs to you now. And every step you take leaves them haunted by what they could never be. And thank you. Yes, you, the chosen one. Your presence here isn't by accident. Whether you've just found us or you've been riding this journey from the start, you're part of something unstoppable. If you're ready to rise, to show the world exactly what happens when they underestimate the chosen one, then smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a number 77 in the comments to claim your power. And now, let's break it down piece by piece. Trust me, if you truly are the chosen one, you'll feel it. This pull to stay till the end. Let's get started. Number 1. While you slept on me, I built the storm that now keeps you awake. They thought your silence meant surrender. They thought your stillness meant stagnation. But let's set the record straight. Your silence wasn't compliance, it was strategy. While they were busy dismissing you, you were crafting something they could never prepare for. The power of being chosen is this: you don't need noise to make an impact. Real power grows in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Every time they laughed, mocked, or doubted, they unknowingly handed you a weapon, a piece of fuel for the fire they didn't see coming. Every insult was like the wind, stoking the embers of your determination, and every cold shoulder taught you to rely on your own warmth. That's the thing about being underestimated. It's like planting a seed in the dark. No one sees it growing until it breaks through the surface, unrelenting, unstoppable. Let's be clear. Their ignorance wasn't a reflection of your worth, but of their own blindness. They saw what they wanted to see, boxed you into their limited perception, and labeled you with their fears. But chosen ones don't fit into their tidy little narratives. While they lived comfortably within their delusions, you were outgrowing every limit they placed on you. Imagine this: a storm gathering quietly over the horizon, unnoticed until it's directly overhead, shaking the ground beneath them. That's you. Your quiet transformation was the storm they never saw coming. You weren't still, you were sharpening your edge. You weren't silent, you were learning their weaknesses. They thought your setbacks meant you'd given up, but chosen ones don't crumble. You fall, you rise, and when you rise, it's higher than before. They didn't realize every failure you faced wasn't a step backward, but the foundation of a comeback that would leave them reeling. And now the transformation they ignored is the nightmare they can't escape. You're not the person they dismissed. You're someone entirely beyond their comprehension. They can't rewrite the past. They can't unsee the truth of what you've become. All they can do now is sit in the front row, watching the rise of the very person they cast aside, while the weight of their misjudgment suffocates them. Here's the reality. Their dismissal wasn't the nail in your coffin. It was the spark that lit the fire inside you. They thought their indifference would break you, but instead, it became your greatest asset. You didn't just survive in their absence, you thrived. And now your silence haunts them because it speaks louder than any words ever could. What they failed to understand is that being chosen is more than just a title. It's a destiny. Chosen ones don't rise because it's easy. They rise because it's necessary. You didn't wait for them to believe in you. You believed in yourself. And that's the kind of power that leaves them trembling. They thought they were winning while you were quiet, but here's the truth they'll never admit. Your silence wasn't for them. It was for you. It was the space you needed to grow, to master, to build. It was the armor you were forging, the path you were paving, the power you were cultivating. Now they see the cost of how they treated you. It's in every success you achieve, every step you take, and every ounce of strength you've gained. They see it in your confidence, in the way you walk into the room without needing their approval, in the way your victories shine like a mirror, reflecting all the ways they underestimated you. This is their reckoning, chosen one. Your transformation is the proof of what they couldn't see and the reality they can't ignore. They taught you how to rise by pushing you down, and now they're stuck watching as you claim the power they tried to bury. Remember this: the silence they mistook for weakness was your greatest weapon. The rejection they thought would break you became the platform for your rise. And now they know, too late, that there's no going back. You are the storm they never saw coming, the power they'll never understand, and the reckoning they'll never escape. Number 2. The loudest thunder comes from the storm they thought would pass in silence. Revenge may be best served cold, but this time it's served loud and unapologetically. This isn't about quiet victories tucked away in the shadows. This is about success so bold, so undeniable, that it demands attention even from those who once dismissed you. They wanted you to fade into the background, but now your light is so bright, it blinds them. The ones who doubted you, who sneered behind your back, or conveniently overlooked you, now have front row seats to a reality they never expected. Your success doesn't tiptoe around their egos. It roars in their faces, drowning out every whisper of doubt they ever muttered about you. This isn't just revenge. This is a reckoning, and the sound of it echoes far beyond their comfort zones. The irony: you don't need their validation anymore. But here's the twist: your success demands their attention anyway. Every move you make now, every step you take forward, is a glaring reminder of how wrong they were. It's not just about achieving your goals, it's about the very visibility of your triumph. The person they mocked and underestimated is now the person they can't stop watching, and it eats at them every single day. Imagine this. They thought they were writing the ending of your story, a tale of failure and mediocrity. Instead, you've turned it into a masterpiece of resilience, strength, and glory. You've rewritten every chapter, and now they're left flipping through the pages, scrambling to understand how the narrative slipped so far out of their control. Your success isn't just loud, it's deafening. Every accomplishment you achieve silences another one of their doubts. Every victory you claim drowns out the memory of their dismissive laughter. They can't ignore you anymore. They can't brush you aside like an afterthought. You've grown too big, too bold, too undeniable to be contained by the small minds that once sought to define you. What stings the most for them isn't just your rise. It's the fact that they played a role in fueling it. Every insult, every rejection, every cold shoulder, they all became bricks in the foundation of your success. They thought they were tearing you down, but they were handing you the tools to build something greater than they could ever imagine. And now, the structure you've built towers over everything they stand for, casting a shadow they can't escape. They wanted you to stay small, to remain in the box they tried to place you in. But chosen ones don't fit into boxes. They break them. They shatter the walls, climb higher, and rise above the limitations others tried to impose. And now, your success is their constant reminder of what they failed to see, of what they tried and failed to suppress. You're not doing this for them, but the result looks a lot like it. That's the ultimate power move, isn't it? You've outgrown the need for revenge, yet your success hits harder than any act of retaliation ever could. It's not spite that drives you, it's purpose. It's the fire of knowing you were destined for something greater, something they could never comprehend. They can't rewrite the past. They can't undo the moments they chose to overlook you, to belittle you, to stand in your way. Now, all they can do is watch as you thrive in a way that makes their silence deafening. The very person they tried to dismiss is now impossible to ignore. You've shifted the narrative. This is no longer their story to tell. It's yours. And the beauty of it is that you don't owe them a single explanation. Your victories speak for themselves. Every milestone is a declaration. Every achievement a reminder that their doubt was never a reflection of your worth, but of their inability to see greatness when it was right in front of them. Success, when it's loud, is a symphony they can't escape. It drowns out their whispers, silences their doubts, and replaces their laughter with stunned disbelief. The cost of underestimating you is clear now, and it's a price they'll pay for the rest of their lives. So here you are, chosen one, standing tall, thriving, and unrelenting. Your rise is the roar of a lion they once thought was a lamb. They wanted you to disappear, but instead, you became the storm. And now, the sound of your success is all they can hear. Number 3. The scars they overlooked became the armor they can't pierce. They saw your struggles and called them weaknesses. They saw your pain and assumed you'd crumble. What they never understood is that every scar they ignored was a badge of resilience, each one etched into your soul as proof of battles fought and won. While they mocked, dismissed, or outright forgot you, you were quietly building a foundation from the very things they thought would destroy you. And now, those unseen struggles have transformed into visible triumphs they can't escape. Every late night spent in silence, grinding away while they laughed or turned their backs, is now painted across the masterpiece of your success. They didn't see the moments when you wanted to give up, when the weight of the world was crushing you, and you had to find strength in reserves you didn't even know you had. They didn't hear the silence of your battles fought alone, or the whispers of self-doubt you overcame in the dead of night. What they saw as your failures were actually your building blocks. Every tear, every sacrifice, every ounce of effort they ignored has become the fuel behind the undeniable force you are today. They were so busy watching you fall, they never realized you were learning how to rise. They thought their dismissal would bury you, but instead, it gave you the space to become untouchable. The irony now? Your success didn't just come in spite of their neglect. It came because of it. They handed you the freedom to sharpen your edge, to cultivate a version of yourself they'd never be able to predict or control. Their doubt was your teacher, their dismissal your opportunity. And now they can't ignore what's in front of them. A triumph so loud it shakes the very ground they stand on. They finally see it, the cost of their underestimation. It's written in every step you take, in every scar that now glows with the strength of someone who not only survived, but thrived. While they lived in comfort, laughing at the sidelines of your life, you were forging something greater. They thought the pain they inflicted would stop you, but they didn't understand that the fire they lit inside you would consume every obstacle in your way. The scars they ignored aren't marks of weakness, they're battle cries. They scream of endurance, transformation, and the kind of strength that can't be faked or replicated. Those marks are proof of what it costs to rise above, and now they have no choice but to face it. They see the depth of what you endured, and with it comes the stark reality that they underestimated something they couldn't possibly comprehend. The beauty of this transformation is that it's all out in the open now. The victories they never thought you'd achieve are no longer private celebrations. They're public declarations, shining brightly and unapologetically for the world to see. Your every success casts a long shadow over their ignorance, forcing them to confront their role in underestimating you. They wanted you to fade into obscurity, but instead, you turned your struggles into stepping stones. You climbed higher with every setback, and now the view from the top is something they can only dream of. Every insult they threw your way, every moment they disregarded your potential, is now a weight they carry, because they can't undo the part they played in your story. And here's the thing, you don't owe them an explanation. Your triumphs speak louder than any words ever could. Your resilience, your success, your scars, they are the answer to every doubt they had about you. The very things they tried to ignore are now the spotlight shining directly on their blindness. They see the cost now, and it's a bitter truth they'll never forget. They see the effort they ignored, the resilience they overlooked, and the potential they couldn't comprehend. And it haunts them, because the person they tried to leave behind has become someone they can't look away from. Chosen one, your journey is no longer invisible. It's a blazing path of triumph that demands recognition. And while they sit in the audience watching you thrive, you walk forward knowing this: their dismissal didn't break you, it built you. Their doubt didn't stop you, it fueled you. And now they'll carry the weight of their misjudgment forever. You carry nothing but the strength you've earned, the scars that empowered you, and the triumphs that define you. Let them watch. Let them see the cost of how they treated you. You've turned every unseen struggle into a visible triumph, and they'll never forget it. Number 4. They thought they knew you. Now they're second-guessing everything. Doubting you was easy for them. It was a way for them to hold on to their sense of superiority, to convince themselves they were right. They placed you in a box, labeled you as small, incapable, unworthy of their attention, and they thought they had you figured out. It made them comfortable. They believed their judgment was flawless. After all, you were nothing more than an afterthought to them, a person they could dismiss without a second glance. But now, as they watch you rise, the reality is setting in, and it's not just regret they're feeling, it's something deeper, darker. It's self-doubt. They never imagined this. They thought you were a blip, a nobody destined to stay stuck, forgotten in the corners of their world. But every step you take, every victory you claim, forces them to confront something they weren't prepared for: the truth that they were wrong. Not just about you, but about their entire ability to judge and assess what was right in front of them. How could they have been so blind? How could they have missed the power you held? They thought you were nothing. Now, they can't stop asking themselves, what else have I been wrong about? Their doubt in you has become a mirror, reflecting their own insecurities and misjudgments. They didn't just underestimate you, they underestimated themselves. Their confidence, once so unshakable, now feels fragile. They thought they were sharp, perceptive, capable of seeing through people, of knowing who would succeed and who wouldn't. But you've exposed the flaw in their thinking. They can no longer escape the nagging realization that they missed the brilliance in you. And that's a haunting thought. It leaves them questioning everything they've ever believed about their own abilities to judge character, to see potential, to truly understand what's in front of them. It's not just about you anymore, it's about them. The ripple effect of their misjudgment has created a deep crack in the foundation of their confidence. They underestimated you, and now they can't escape the whispers of doubt that follow them every time they make a decision, every time they trust their judgment. The questions don't stop. The what-ifs haunt them. The "how could I have been so wrong" echoes in their minds like an endless loop. And the best part, this chaos, this self-doubt, it's all self-inflicted. Their dismissal of you wasn't just a mistake, it's a mistake they now have to live with forever. Every success you achieve, every victory you claim, is another nail in the coffin of their confidence. Their doubts about you have shifted into doubts about their own capabilities, and they're stuck in the loop of trying to understand where it all went wrong. But here's the truth: they'll never truly escape it. The cost of underestimating you isn't just missing out on your potential, it's realizing that they didn't see what was right in front of them. And that will haunt them for a long time. You've become a reminder of their flawed perception, a walking testament to how wrong they were. Your success is their self-inflicted punishment, a constant mirror reflecting their arrogance, their ignorance, and their inability to see greatness when it was sitting right there, in front of them all along. They doubted you, and now the real cost has hit them, because in doubting you, they doubted themselves. and that's a burden they will carry forever. Number 5. They laughed at you. Now they can't look away. Once you were nothing more than a punchline to them. They laughed at your dreams, scoffed at your efforts, and made sure to remind you time and time again that in their eyes you'd never measure up. You were the underdog, the person they thought wasn't even worth noticing, the one who would always remain a supporting character in the story of their lives. They didn't even think you deserved a second thought. But every great story has a twist. And this one? This one is all yours. While they were busy dismissing you, laughing at your ambition, you were busy building the plot twist they never saw coming. You turned their mockery into motivation, their ridicule into rocket fuel. They didn't realize that every sneer, every condescending laugh was simply laying the foundation for your rise. While they focused on their own comfort and superiority, you were working, learning, evolving and preparing to prove them all wrong. They never expected you to rise. In fact, they were so sure of your failure, they thought they had written you out of the script completely. They assumed the story would go on without you. Unimportant, insignificant. But now you've taken center stage. And the narrative? It's nothing like they imagined. The irony hits hard. The very people who thought you were a joke are now the ones watching in disbelief as you rewrite the rules. They were so consumed with laughing at you that they never saw the plot unfolding beneath their feet. They didn't realize that every laugh, every dismissive comment was setting the stage for their own humiliation. And now they can't look away. You've gone from the person they mocked to the one they can't stop talking about. The punchline they clung to has turned into their regret. Every moment they thought they had control of the narrative now feels like a distant memory, because the plot twist they never saw coming is the new version of you that they're struggling to comprehend. But here's the thing. It's not just success you're living, it's poetic justice. You didn't rise to prove them wrong. You rose because you were always meant to. You were always destined for greatness, and their laughter was nothing more than background noise in your story. The mockery they made of you? It's a footnote now, barely remembered in the shadow of the life you've built. The jokes on them, and the punchline? It's the empire you're building, an empire they never saw coming, far beyond anything they could have ever imagined. They thought they were the ones writing the story, but you've proven that the best stories are the ones where the underdog becomes the hero, where the laughable dream turns into the undeniable reality. So, let them sit there in disbelief. Let them scramble to understand how the person they counted out has become the one they can't escape. Your story is yours, chosen one, and it's far from over. What they thought was the punchline is just the beginning of the real plot twist they'll never live down. Number 6. Your success isn't just a victory. It's a reality check they can't ignore. Your success does more than lift you higher. It forces those who doubted you to confront the very truths they tried to avoid. They thought they knew you, thought they had you figured out. They saw your potential as nothing more than a fleeting moment, not worth their time, not worth their faith. They prided themselves on their judgment, confident in their ability to dismiss you. But now, your achievements are the mirror they can't look away from, a brutal reflection of their own failure. Each milestone you hit, each barrier you break, each success you achieve, exposes the gaps in their understanding. It's no longer just about you, it's about them. Your rise reveals their ignorance, their short-sightedness, their inability to see the strength you held all along. What they mistook for weakness, you turned into the fire that forged your success. And now, That success is showing them just how wrong they were. They didn't just fail to support you, they failed to see you for what you really were. They overlooked the potential right in front of them, blinded by their own arrogance and narrow perspective. And now they have no choice but to confront the truth that their dismissal wasn't just an error, it was their downfall. Your success isn't something that can be ignored or swept under the rug. It's not happening in the background anymore. It's front and center, impossible to escape. They see your rise, they see your impact, and it's a reality they can't deny. Every time they see you move forward, they are forced to ask themselves, how did I misjudge this person so completely? This is the power of success. It's not just a celebration of what you've done, but a mirror that reflects back on those who doubted you. It shows them their flaws, their failures, their inability to see greatness when it was staring them in the face. They thought they had all the answers, but now your success is the question they can't ignore. It makes them confront their own limitations. Were they too arrogant to see you as you truly were? Too blind to recognize your potential? Too insecure to believe in someone else's rise? Those are questions they'll never truly want to answer, but your success demands that they try. And that's the beauty of it. It's not your job to give them the answers. They have to find them on their own. But they can't escape the truth of what you've become. Your success speaks volumes, loud enough for everyone to hear. You don't need to boast or shout to make a statement. Your accomplishments carry the weight of truth all on their own. In the end, your success isn't just about you. It's a reckoning for those who doubted, those who dismissed you, those who couldn't see your worth. Your triumphs are a reminder of their inability to see greatness when it stood right in front of them. And no matter how hard they try, they can't escape the reality staring them in the face. The mirror your success holds up to them isn't just a reflection. It's a reckoning they'll have to live with for as long as they refuse to acknowledge it. Number 7. They tried to bury you. Instead, they planted the seed of your rise. Every insult they threw your way, every idea they dismissed, every moment they belittled your potential, they thought they were breaking you. They thought their words, their judgments, could silence you, could keep you small, keep you in your place. But what they didn't realize was that with every harsh word, every cold shoulder, and every act of disrespect, they were unknowingly handing you the very tools you needed to rise. Every attack wasn't a setback, it was fuel. Every rejection didn't weaken you, it made you stronger. What they didn't understand is that they weren't shattering your spirit, they were sharpening it. Their doubt didn't define your limits, it ignited your fire. And that fire burned away every trace of insecurity they tried to plant inside you. Instead of folding under their criticism, you grew more determined. You transformed their rejection into the rocket fuel that launched you higher, pushed you further, and made you impossible to stop. The truth? They thought they were building walls, but they were really paving your path. They didn't see it, but every attempt they made to hold you back only made you more relentless. Each insult they threw was a stepping stone, each dismissal another layer of armor. They couldn't see what they were creating. They thought their negativity could crush you, but all it did was make you stronger, more focused, and more prepared for what was to come. What they didn't realize is that they weren't building barriers. They were giving you the foundation you needed to become untouchable. Their doubt was the soil, and you, chosen one, were the seed they didn't think would grow. They underestimated your ability to adapt, to rise from the ashes of their ignorance. But now they see the tree that's grown from their misguided attempts to stop you. Each insult they hurled at you made your skin thicker, your resolve stronger. Each rejection they imposed on you became the very fuel that fed your growth. While they thought they were suffocating you, they were actually giving you the room to bloom, to evolve into someone who couldn't be overlooked or undermined. They never saw it coming. They thought their actions were keeping you down, but what they were really doing was forcing you to become someone unstoppable. The very strength they feared is now visible in everything you've accomplished. The confidence they mocked is now the driving force behind every step you take forward. And the success they doubted is now a living, breathing reality that they can't ignore. Now, the version of you they see isn't the one they tried to silence. It's the version forged in the fire of every attempt to break you, every obstacle they thought they could place in your way. And that version of you, it's unstoppable. It's the person they never believed in, and now they're forced to watch as you rise to heights they could never have imagined. They built your path. They paved the way to your success. And now they're left with nothing but the echo of their own ignorance as you soar beyond what they ever thought was possible. Number 8. They wanted you to chase their approval. Now they're chasing your shadow. Here's the plot twist they never saw coming. You no longer care about proving them wrong. That burning need to show them your worth? It's gone, replaced by something far more powerful: indifference. You've reached the point where their opinions no longer have any hold over you. Their doubts, their judgment, their attempts to limit you, all irrelevant. They thought you needed their validation, but now you don't even think about them. What you've built, what you've earned, and who you've become are yours alone. And that's the part they never prepared for. They thought you'd always be chasing after them, craving a seat at their table, waiting for that fleeting moment where they'd finally recognize your worth. But you've outgrown that need entirely. Their approval is no longer your goal. It's your own growth, your own vision, and your own success that matter now. The power dynamic has shifted. You've taken the reins, and they're left scrambling on the sidelines, irrelevant to your story. It's ironic, really. Their dismissal of you once fueled your fire. Every no they gave you was the spark that set you alight. But now, you've reached a place where you don't even consider them. They expected you to revolve your life around their acceptance, to constantly prove you belonged in their world. But here's the reality. You've moved so far beyond them that they don't even register in your decision-making anymore. And that's where the real victory lies. The freedom that comes with no longer needing to prove anything to anyone. The freedom to live your life on your own terms, driven by your own goals. Your ambitions are yours alone. Their judgment is a whisper in the background, drowned out by the roar of your own self-belief. They wanted you to feel small, but instead, you've built a life so big, so extraordinary, that it can't be contained by their narrow views. Now, as they sit on the sidelines, watching your rise from a distance, they realize they've lost the game. They thought they could define your worth, but you've gone ahead and redefined the game entirely. Their expectations were always too small for you, and you've shown them just how irrelevant their opinions truly are. The real triumph, the ultimate victory, is not in proving them wrong. It's in realizing that you don't need to prove anything at all. You've reached a point where your life speaks louder than any words they could ever say. You've stopped playing by their rules, and in doing so, you've already won. The luxury of proving nothing is the final blow to their egos. They wanted you to live for their approval, but you've learned to live for yourself. Your growth, your achievements, your journey, it all stands as a testament to everything they overlooked, dismissed, and misunderstood. And now, the truth is clear. You've left them behind. Their role in your story has ended, and you've already claimed the victory. Number 9. the higher you rise, the harder they fall behind. They thought your dreams were too big. They laughed at your ambition, scoffed at your vision, and told you that the life you imagined was far beyond your reach. They dismissed you, your goals, your future, as impossible. They were comfortable in their small world, secure in their belief that you'd never rise above the bottom they tried to keep you in. But now, they're stuck watching from below, and the harsh reality is sinking in. They can't reach you anymore. What stings more than your success itself is the crushing realization that they can't touch what you've built. They assumed your rise would never happen, that you'd be stuck where they wanted you, stuck where they thought you belonged. But now, you're soaring above them, higher than they ever thought possible, and there's no ladder tall enough for them to climb to meet you. They thought they were untouchable at the top, but now they're helpless, watching as you leave them behind. The truth is, the success you've achieved isn't just a personal victory. It's a reminder to them of their narrow vision. They mocked you, they underestimated you, and now they're forced to watch as everything they thought was impossible for you becomes your reality. The life they once thought was out of reach for someone like you is now exactly where you stand, and it's too late for them to catch up. The real pain isn't your success, it's the powerlessness that comes with it. Every step you take forward is a step further away from the place they thought you'd always stay. They wanted to see you fail, to watch you struggle, but now they're left powerless, staring at a version of reality they can't touch. The dreams they laughed at, they're yours now. The goals they thought were unreachable, they're your daily achievements. And the worst part for them, they can't even try to attain it because the distance between where they are and where you've risen to is too vast. Your success isn't just about what you've achieved. It's a constant reminder that they never saw the greatness in you. It's a reminder that their vision was limited, that they didn't believe in you when it mattered most. Now, they're left with nothing but regret and the painful realization that the very life they thought they'd never have to share with you is now yours and theirs to only watch from below. And the hardest truth for them to swallow, the fact that they're powerless to change it. They had their chance to stand beside you, to see your worth, but now they're left staring at a life they can never attain. Their doubt became their prison, and your rise became their punishment. Every step forward for you is a reminder that the world they thought they owned is slipping through their fingers, and there's nothing they can do to get it back. So, let them watch. Let them see what their disbelief has cost them. The higher you rise, the harder they'll fall behind, and the weight of watching you succeed from below will be the heaviest burden they'll carry. Number 10. Every door they slammed became the key to your rise. Every no they threw your way, every door they slammed in your face wasn't an obstacle, it was a weapon, a tool they unknowingly handed you to carve your own path. They thought they were shutting you down, keeping you small, making sure you stayed in line with their vision of what you could be. What they didn't realize is that with every rejection, they were pushing you further away from their limits, straight into the realm of your true potential. They built walls around you, believing they could contain your growth, believing their no would stop you from reaching higher. But those walls weren't a barrier, they were a ladder, each brick providing the foundation for your ascent. Every time they thought they were holding you back, they were actually fueling your rise. At first, sure, it may have felt like defeat. Every slammed door might have stung, each "you're not enough" echoing in your mind. But look at you now. Those rejections were the catalyst for something bigger. They didn't break you, they made you unbreakable. You didn't need their approval or their validation to succeed. You needed their opposition. Their resistance was the grindstone sharpening your resolve, pushing you to think beyond their limitations, to dream bigger than they ever could. Each rejection became a fuel for your fire. Every no they handed you was another reason to prove that you didn't need their permission to achieve greatness. They thought they were closing doors on you, but all they did was teach you how to open new ones. They underestimated the power in your ability to adapt, to find another way, to keep pushing when they thought you would quit. The irony here? They believed their power to deny you would limit your growth, when in fact, it was the exact thing that made you unstoppable. With every closed door, you found another path to forge ahead. They thought they were stopping you, but they were just handing you the keys to your success. Now look at you, standing on the other side of every obstacle they put in your way. Every door they closed on you has turned into a triumph, a victory so sweet it stings them harder than their rejection ever could. You didn't need their support, their approval, or their validation to rise. All you needed was their opposition, because it was that opposition that ignited the fire inside you, pushing you further and faster than they could ever hold you back. And now they're left watching as you soar. Every door they slammed in your face became the very thing that opened your eyes to your own power, your own ability to break through any wall they tried to build. They thought they were limiting you, but in the end, they only gave you the strength to rise above. You've reached heights they never thought possible, and you didn't need them for a single step of it. You did it despite them, and now they can only watch as you leave them behind, soaring far beyond their reach. Number 11. Their words are now the chains that keep them locked in their own failure. They thought their words were weapons, sharp enough to cut you down, to put you in your place. Every sarcastic jab, every dismissive sneer, every phrase meant to belittle you. They used them to try and shrink your potential. But what they didn't realize is that their words didn't just land on you. No, those words, meant to knock you down, have now become the very chains that bind them to their own failure. Every insult, every word thrown your way with the intent to dismiss, to judge, to mock, those words echo in their minds now, not with the sting of power, but as a constant reminder of their misjudgment. What was once meant to diminish you is now a daily reminder of how wrong they were about you. They thought they could break you with their words, but now they're the ones trapped by them. What they didn't know is that the very words they used to keep you in your place have become the soundtrack of their own regret. They thought they were clever, quick to mock your ambitions, to laugh off your ideas, and to dismiss your dreams as unrealistic. But now, each one of those words is a prison, chaining them to their own narrow-mindedness. Every time they hear their own voices echoing, every time they remember what they said, they're forced to face the painful truth. They were wrong about you, and they can't escape it. These weren't just words of mockery anymore. They are the bars of their own cell. Their doubt, their disregard for your potential has transformed into a self-imposed prison. They can't outrun it. They can't pretend it didn't happen. Those words, once meant to hurt, now serve as a constant reminder of their failure to see what you were truly capable of. They thought they were in control, sitting on their thrones of superiority while you were the one who didn't measure up. But now, your rise has turned their arrogance into a heavy weight they carry with them everywhere. And the beauty of it? Those words, once used to diminish you, now only fuel your growth. They're the proof of how far you've come, how much stronger you are than they ever imagined. While you've moved on, thriving, achieving, succeeding in ways they never thought possible, they're stuck. Their words follow them, shackling them to a moment they can't undo. Every time they hear their own doubts about you, Every time they replay their own mockery, they're reminded of the force you've become. They can't escape it, because every reminder of their past cruelty is now a reflection of their failure. In the end, their words weren't just an attack on you. They were a curse they cast upon themselves. They underestimated you, dismissed you, laughed at you, and tried to break you with their words. But in doing so, they've become prisoners of their own skepticism, locked in a cell of regret and self-doubt. You've moved forward, rising above, and they're left behind, forever chained to the very words they used to hold you down. And no matter how hard they try, they'll never escape the truth of how they misjudged the power that was always within you. Number 12. The cost of doubt is a debt they'll never pay off. They thought they were the architects of your destiny. They believed their approval was the key to your success, their support the foundation you needed to rise. They underestimated your resilience, convinced that their rejection, their dismissive attitude, and their indifference would break you. But what they failed to grasp is that you were never dependent on their validation. You were always capable of more than they could ever see, and every doubt they cast on you only fueled your drive to prove them wrong. You weren't waiting for them to believe in you because deep down, you always knew your own worth. Their opinions were irrelevant to the vision you had for yourself, and what they couldn't see, the quiet power of your persistence, was the force that kept you moving forward when they wrote you off. They thought you'd stumble without their support, but what they failed to realize is that you were never building your success on their terms. You were building it on your own. They overestimated their importance in your journey, thinking that without their blessing, you wouldn't make it. But now, as you stand in a place they never thought possible, they're left holding something far more valuable than success. They're holding regret. The weight of their underestimation is heavy, and it's one they'll carry for the rest of their lives. Every time they doubted you, belittled you, or turned their back on you, they were laying the groundwork for their own regret. They thought their lack of belief would keep you down, but in reality, it only gave you more fuel to rise. Now, as you saw, they're left with the unrelenting question that haunts them. What if they had seen your potential? What if they hadn't dismissed you as insignificant? The truth is, they can never undo the damage they caused with their disbelief. They can't take back the time they wasted doubting you, or the opportunities they denied you by dismissing your worth. And now, they're stuck with the weight of their own failure to recognize greatness when it was right in front of them. Regret, as they're learning the hard way, is a price that doesn't come with a receipt. They can't pay it off, and they can't erase it. Every time they think of you, every time they see you succeed, they'll remember the chances they didn't take, the support they didn't give. The what-ifs will linger in their minds like an unshakable shadow. And here's the best part, they can never escape it. The truth that they misjudged you will follow them like a ghost, haunting every decision they make. They had the chance to support you, to believe in you, but instead, they chose to doubt. And now, they'll spend their days wondering how different things could have been if they had seen your resilience for what it truly was. Regret is a heavy burden to carry, and it's one they'll never put down. They'll never forget the moment they could have believed in you, and now they'll live with the cost of that doubt forever. As the dust settles, the truth remains clear. Those who doubted you are left with nothing but the weight of their own misjudgment. Your rise, your strength, your success, they all serve as reminders of how wrong they were. But now, it's your time. The world is yours to conquer, and their regret is the price they'll pay forever. If you felt the power of being the chosen one, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a number 77 in the comments to claim your victory. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let's keep rising together.